Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to present a presentation entitled Socio-cultural diversity and its impact and its implication on educational system. Me, to start the presentation, me, Muhammad Najimuddin Roslan, will start the presentation, followed by other two group member, Nurul Najwa binti Muhammad Yusuf and Nur Fatin Nadia binti Ibrahim. To start with, I would like to give the definition first. The definition for social cultural diversity in this context includes race, class, ability, different learning conditions and style, ethnicity, age, gender, sexual orientation, religion, nationality, and other dimensions that make up the identity of the individual student and impact his or her learning experience. Okay, in teaching and learning environment, we have to admit the fact that we have to face other people. We have to face other people other than our races, our own races. That one we call a multicultural society. Particularly in Malaysia, we have Chinese, Malays, and Indian as the main race, and then that one is not the only diversity that we have. We also have ethnicity. Ethnicity combines of a letter. I will give the definition. What is race and what is ethnicity? Okay. Now I would like to draw our attention to the concept of social cultural diversity. Okay, the concept of social cultural diversity concerns on aspects of culture that can influence an individual's interaction with others of different backgrounds. There are three factors affecting social cultural diversity in education, which are race, religion, and social structure. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, race and ethnicity. Okay, I will begin the first point. I will start with definition of race and ethnicity, as these two are the first factors that are affecting diversity in education. Or in the bigger picture is students' learning experience, individuals' learning experience. Okay, to start with, the dictionary of Merriam-Webster defines race as a category of humankind that shares certain distinctive physical traits. That shares certain distinctive physical traits. Race is usually associated with biology and linked with physical characteristics such as hair texture, skin color, and covers a relatively narrow range of options. We have dark skin or fair skin. Basically, what we look outside. Okay, we can see the physical. Okay. Race is narrow. It's narrow and based on similar physical and biological attributes. Malay, Chinese, Indian, okay, are the example of race because of distinctive physical traits. You can see Chinese with their fair skin, the Indian with their darker skin, and Malay have a distinctive skin color. Okay, means that we can differentiate them. Okay, now on the other hand, ethnicity is a broader term than race. It's broad. Okay, the term is used to categorize groups of people according to their cultural expression and identification. Commonalities such as racial, national, tribal, religious, linguistic, or cultural origin may be used to describe someone's ethnicity. For example, Asian American, African American, and Hispanic. Here in Malaysia, they are Minangkabau, Bidayo, Baba Nyonya, and Kadazan Dusun. It is broader. We have many ethnicity. Nevertheless, we have Baba Nyonya, especially related with Malay mix, Malay and Chinese, originated in Malacca. Okay, one of the heritage in the diversity in Malaysia. Now, I would like to draw your attention to the implication of race and ethnic identification in education, particularly in education. Okay, the first point is the ethnic identification involving the major ethnic groups have resulted in power imbalance and hierarchies along the various social, educational, and economic dimensions. These power dynamics have in turn produced an education and schooling system that is highly politicized. Okay, means that we have with the presence of diversity, I mean the multicultural, it will result in hierarchies. Okay, maybe this power dynamic have in turn produced an educational and schooling system with layers of hierarchies, right? Okay, and then least tolerant educator may have tendency to be biased in teaching students that are different from his or her race. Okay, another point is the segregation based on race and ethnicity will deteriorate the aspiration of education and may lead to another internal conflicts. Okay, for example, the Chinese with excellence in mathematics, that one is stereotyping. Okay, stereotyping in our education, right? So the teacher from excel in mathematics, we have biasness when dealing with Malay student. Okay. Another point is the segregation based on race and ethnicity. It will create an internal conflict, as I said earlier. The biasness, or at least the worst is a prejudice among teachers and students. Okay. That one point is really important. Okay, because the racism is the worst part of dealing with multicultural. Therefore, race and ethnicity awareness is vital in providing excellent education system. In terms of social construct, race means that culture's physical appearance does carry with it social means that can be whether negative or positive. There are two. Okay, negative social construct is physical appearance that is used to discriminate. Meanwhile, positive social construct is one's physical appearance is taken as a matter of pride, as part of one's psychological identity. Okay, Malays identified with political powers, with their majority in social class, or what do we call in the social status of Malay as a Bumiputra and such. Okay, therefore educators especially must be aware of this and should take what do we call insight of this matter, so that the environment will be much harmonious, and then we cut down the racial barriers among us. Okay, among students and teachers, because it will be bad for our education if it happen. Next, proceed with the next factor affecting socio-cultural diversity, which is religion. Okay, will be presented by Nurul Najwa. Okay, thank you for listening to my points. Proceed with Nurul Najwa.
Okay, thank you Najmuddin, our first presenter. So, next, another factor that could affecting social cultural diversity in school, also religion. As an educator or lifelong learners, the teachers should advocate social cultural diversity education in school to encourage religious tolerance. Like according to Gillian and Krieger 2014, they said that religion is an intrinsic element of our cultural mindsets that implicitly impacts how we communicate, not only at work but also in the classroom. Schools should not show any preference for any one religion, although in a implicit way, many do. Plus, in school also, student will be explore to the topic of other religions, other religions. So that's why they need to be unveiled with that, where it begins with the teachers. Everything that come out from us as an educator will be a role to our student, like to our learners, like how do we look, how do we dress up, how do we speak to them, also can influence them, include in teaching and learning, as it will impact on educational system and the teacher's role too. Okay, next, we are going to see the implication on educational system based on religion factors and the teacher's role. Okay, for individual, society and country aspect, after this I will explain for both sides which are the advantage and also the disadvantage of the implication. Okay, first, individual, which is our learners. Learners aspect should be considered, as we do not want our student will feel ignored, marginalized, or actively discriminated by other religions, as this can impact their learning process in the classroom. They may not be able to focus in the classroom, or also may not be perform excellently in the task given. However, if the teachers know how to blend the social cultural diversity in school, at the end, the student will learn and respect for each other religion. For example, maybe the teachers can provide the materials like videos, short brief of history about other religions celebration, reading short stories during language class, and many more. And this actually could encourage the student to share their own beliefs and practice and feel free to discuss about others' different religions. Okay, next, second is society. Other than parents, school is another place that society will put on a trust first. Based on the research that I found, there are 15 professions in Malaysia that people or society will believe their words. Okay, which are first profession is a doctor. Second is a teacher, which is educator. Okay, everything that an educator said to the student will believe rather than their parent itself. As I mentioned earlier in the first point, which is learner, that learner that feel ignored by other religions may influence their parents as well too. This will create a religious discrimination, as what they which is society, belief from the educator's word. For instance, different religion will say a good and bad things about each other. In fact, we are a socio-cultural country. Nevertheless, if our socio-cultural diversity united, in fact of various of religion, we can create an appreciable society towards each other. And then third is a country, which is educational system, our educational system. Hence from this society, as I mentioned in the second point, it will impact the educational system for our country as well. This impact can affect our educational development. In the context of the Malaysian education system, an educator should not only focus on the students' academic. Third is educational system, which is our educational system. Hence, the society that I mentioned in the second point, it will impact the educational system for our country, as well as could put at a disadvantage effect on our educational development. In the context of the Malaysian education system, an educator should not only focus on the students' academic achievement simply by ignoring the implementation of the humanity within them. Students should balance the various aspects along with the establishment of the national educational philosophy of Malaysia, where to produce students who are balanced in terms of physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, and social. So that social element is one of the priority to produce a student who is balanced in terms of social. So the socio-cultural diversity of religion is one of the important aspect of the situation in Malaysia to encourage the educational development. So last is about teachers' role. Okay, so in spite of those implications where the advantage and also disadvantage, the teachers play a crucial role to have in educational development. Teachers have to find right balance in teaching subject related religion in social cultural diversity. Research found that most of the teachers still less exposed to this concept in a school. As a teacher, they need to identify professional development opportunities and practicing it as to raise awareness among the other teachers. As the teachers also the role model in the education system. Moreover, teachers could collaborate with one another religious to have greater pedagogical flexibility in the classroom about others' religion. So, the discussion of such religion diversity in school could offer an opportunity for both students and teachers to encourage the learning process by respecting each other, both in and out of the classroom. So next, I will pass my presentation to our next presenter, Nadia.
Okay, my name is Nadia, and I will focus on we will move on to the third point. For the third point, we will discuss about social structure. Okay, what is social structure? Social structure can be referred as a social arrangement or interrelation within a society or a group or organization. So, how can social structure exist in class? Social structure They can exist in class in many ways. For example, it can happen when students are categorized or labeled into different groups. For example, high achiever, low achiever, active students, passive students, trouble students, or popular students group. And this is the usually group that are labeled by their teachers, and the interactions and socialization of the teachers towards this particular group can be different. And social structure also can exist when these students they are put into a certain category by the student themselves. For example, among the students, they will have a certain group they are comfortable with. For example, group that are based on the social background. The students that share the social background will create a certain group, while the students with different social background, they will create a certain group. For example, the student with a high income or stable income family, they can create a group within themselves. So but the other group can consist of people from the same background. They come from the same neighborhood, and they are from the same low income family. So in the class, you can see that there will be two different kind of group, and usually these two group, the interactions are set apart, and they are not socializing much between them. Okay, and it can also exist when the teachers show favoritism towards a certain individual in class. But it doesn't mean that it has to be in the bad way. The teacher may show the favoritism to these certain students because he or she meant to give some focus on them to improve their learning, to improve their skills. But the overly attention given to a student, it can create a gap with another student. So where these students that receive more attention will be at the top of social structure, while the other student, they will feel that they are lower social structure. Okay, so what are the effects of social structure in class? There can be a lot of effects related to social structure of in the learning and development that occur in the class. For example, and the most important thing is that it can demotivate the students of a certain class or group. So when the teachers, they give their focus or their positive and negative comments only on a few students within a circle, the other students, they are not within the circle, they could feel demotivated. Okay, for example, in the class, usually the first two lines at the front, the teacher will be more focusing on them in terms of eye contact, and also interaction between them. And sometimes when this happen, the students at the back line, they will feel like demotivated. They will feel that they don't have they are lack of the motivation to be active in the class, to participate in the learning process, and they will be prefer to take the role of observer and a passive learner instead. And this is one of the instance that can happen in class. But in general, it can create the motivation between students, because when a certain attention, or there are gap between one group to another, the other group that are in lower social structure, they will feel neglected, and they will feel that they are not as good as the first group or the higher group. So this can lead these students to have passive interaction in class, lack of socializing, and also demotivated to learn during teaching and learning process. Okay, so the second one, the other effect that we can see from this is that it can contribute to peer disliking and negative instruction of the students. Okay, for example, this can happen when the teachers show favoritism to a student. So the other peers, the students, these students that has received more attention by the teachers, they can be seen by their peers as the teacher's favorite. Okay, and as the result, they can be disliked because the other students, they are craving for the teacher attention also. So there is negative interaction that can happen between these students. According to a research conducted by Babat in 2009, it can also happen the other way, where the students, they are close to the teacher, that have close relationship to the teacher, that are usually given attention by these teachers. These students, they can have a higher sense of confidence, they can feel more secure. So when this happen, students, they are more close to the teachers, they feel that they have more freedom to act in a way that can, in a negative way, that for example, they feel more free to show dislike to their peers or behave in a certain negative ways when the teachers are not around, because they feel that they have the teacher's support behind them. Okay, so that is just one of the example that we can see from this point. Okay, but overall, this gap between in the social structure between any kind of group in the class, it can create a negative classroom climates, and it can also lower the morale of the students, because the students will have negative thinking on their friends and will act a certain way. We always see that in the class when teaching, there are always students, they are isolated, they are isolated, and these students, they can act harshly or say mean words to these particular students that are in lower social structure in the class. Okay, due to few reasons, maybe because maybe because he's weak in the studies, maybe because of his social background. But overall, it can create the negative interaction, and it can lower the students' satisfaction and morale in the class, and also it can lead to peer disliking towards them. Okay, so what is the role of the teacher in this kind of situation? The teachers has to function as a model or a social reference for the students regarding on how to interact and how to form relationship with others. If the teachers act in certain way that support the social structure itself, it means that the students will take us as a model, and they will follow our suits, they will follow our actions. If we show biasness towards a certain people, these students, they will follow us and they will show biasness towards certain people also. So we have to act as a model to them, and therefore, although it is not easy, the teachers need to balance, build and maintain a good supportive relationship with equally among all the students. Of course, there are some students that need extra attention, but despite of that, we have to assure them that we are doing our best to accommodate to all of them. We are doing our best to support and to help each one of them. So other than that, the teachers also has to act as the guidance to the students who are practicing the social structure in the class. For example, there are always cases where some students are isolated by their peers. So what we have to do is that we have to guide them and set them on the right path, that they should not be practicing social structure, or they should not be biased towards a certain group. So what we have to do is we have to enhance their moral. We have to build a social interaction between them so that they can get close and there is a positive environment in the class. And this positive environment is what will help the students to be more active and to have more impactful learning and development process in the class. As the conclusion, our group have discussed 3 factors that can influence social diversity in the classroom and how they can affect the students' education. What's important from this is that the teacher will always have to take active and multiple roles in the classroom so that they can provide a safe and positive environment for the students to learn and for the benefits of them. Thank you.